Scott, I can't see you. Well, I kind of can a little bit. I'm trying to do the. Are you trying to make the sound?
Yes, I'm trying to make
the inky clay sound.
It's more the Clayface sound more than anything. So,
really
but since we established in her first appearance that Ink basically is the beyond version of Clayface, I thought it would work out.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, somebody in the chat said that she does have a kind of symbiote, but with no host. She's like a symbiote with not really a host because she's just the whole thing. So
yeah, she's just a blobby thing. Yes. Yeah. So to explain to everyone, if you've never been on the vodka stream when I've done this, sometimes when Dave and I chat for quite a while after a DC Fan-imated stream, Scott, like a complete idiot, forgets to plug his computer back in. Because if you don't know, I have to unplug my computer from the wall to be able to plug my webcam in. So my webcam is always working on battery. Well, when you leave your computer unplugged for an entire week, there's no battery to plug.
No charge. Yeah, it's just that kind of Wednesday, folks. I mean, if you guys, hopefully you guys checked out, there was a Film Junkie show. It just wasn't live, but I did record it as if it was live. So, you can still check that out. Scott went to go see Ballerina tonight. So look forward to his review of that.
It is coming. I haven't written it yet, but I know what it's
Letterbox, baby.
Do you want
we can have a little preview if you want.
Okay. I will say this. And in my review that I'm going to write for Letterbox, and I'm also going to be on a podcast talking about Ballerina, so look forward to that. Cool. I'll plug that at the end of tonight's stream. I'm going to say Ballerina is one of those movies that, like, depending on your mood, is like a 3.5 to a 4-star action movie. It just kind of depends on how much credit you do or do not want to give the movie, whether you leave it at 3.5 or you bump it up to 4. I'm going to go ahead and let you know I'm bumping it up to 4 for reasons that I will detail in my forthcoming Letterbox review. But it is a good time, and and since it's got that moniker of from the world of John Wick, it fits. Like, it does not feel like it is a sore thumb kind of movie. It feels like it fits into the world, and that's something that I was very glad to be able to say when the movie was over.
That's good. Yeah, I'm seeing it tomorrow. We got a whole group going tomorrow when it comes to Pop's Film Junkie, Brother Film Junkie, Nephew Film Junkie, and Nephew Film Junkie Bestie also. So 6:00 tomorrow, I'm definitely seeing it. Looking forward to it. But yeah, that's good. That's good. So yeah, look forward to whatever podcast you're going to be discussing it, and of course you'll plug that at the end. But yeah, guys, Wednesday it's just a wonky Wednesday. That's what it is. And I posted the reason why. I got shitty sleep last night. I had one of those. This is what happens, Scott. I don't know. It's probably happened to you. Of course, it's happened. It's happened to everybody, where you're tired, right? So when I was like working on things, I was watching the Giants, which are on right now. But at the same time, I was like, okay. And I started, when you hit that wall where you're like, oh fuck, I'm like, ooh, I'm tired. You start, feeling like Mortal Kombat when somebody's gonna perform.
Yes, I know that very well. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, oh man, and it was like 8:30, whatever the hell. I'm like, all right, good, because Wednesdays are my early days. Because with my job, I have a early meeting with my crew and stuff. So it's an early day. So I was like, all right, this works. So I go to my room and I put the game on to watch the rest of it, see the Giants lose because they're just sucking right now, even though this game they're doing really good. And I'm like, okay, they lose, I turn it off, and I doze, and I just freaking fall asleep. I'm like kind of looking at my phone, and then all of a sudden, the next thing I just put it down. I just like 20 minutes, half hour later, you do that whole thing where you're just like, huh, what?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. Then you try to roll over to go to sleep. Could not go to sleep. And then there was times, and then I would start dozing, and then also, I don't know, my brain was just like, nope. So naturally, what do? You start scrolling through again, and yeah, I just and I was tossing and turning. I would try to so it was just like one of those nights, and and then of course being the early morning. But you know what's weird about those though is like, I don't know if this probably happened to you too. Is like when you get like not the best sleep, sometimes like even that happens, you feel more focused because you're just so like,
No, oh no, yeah, because it's like your body is. It's like people say, like when you're blind, all your other senses like that. It's like when you don't have sleep, your brain is like hyper focusing because it knows that it's got to be in like sixth gear. Yeah, and you weirdly are like alert until later in the day when it all of a sudden just like bitch slaps you back to oblivion. Yes,
and that's what happened with me. I was perfectly fine when I was working. I was on it. I was like, oh yeah, I love it. I'm in that zone, and I was working, and I got a lot of work done when it came to my job. But then when it came to done, and I had to run a couple of errands, and then of course, trying to prepare for the stream and everything. I mean, time just was non-existent. Like I said, I thought I was so ahead of the game, and then all of a sudden I go, wait a minute, I didn't post about the stream tonight. I don't have everything ready. Like my brain was just like, oh yeah, I fooled you. Sorry. So that's why I was like, all right, this is not happening. This ain't happening. So that's why I recorded it. And then, of course, it's all chaptered out. Everything. The show is up. It's only 45 minutes. So that's really short for me when it comes to a Film Junkie show. So go ahead and watch it. Talked about Ballerina reviews, talked about, of course, Superman stuff, Fantastic Four stuff, and then Martin Scorsese stuff, which was interesting. So I don't know if you saw that.
I did, and he's right. So
yeah, totally. And that's what I wanted to emphasize, because I was like, when I saw Mission Impossible Final Reckoning, dude next to me pulls out his phone 20 minutes in and was on it for like an hour. And I'm like, what are we doing here? I mean, obviously he had the courtesy enough to have it dimmed, but he was still on his phone for like an hour in the movie theater. I'm like, what are we doing?
I don't get it. But what I do get is what we're here to talk about tonight, which is a segue. I'm good at it. I'm good at this.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. We had to get back on track.
Yeah. So Disappearing Ink. Okay. I have one of those observations that's not a criticism. It's just an observation. You know how I do that sometimes, where it's like, I notice something, but I know how someone could take what I say and try to twist it into me being negative. And I'm not being negative. I just my brain, as I was watching the episode today, just made me go, huh. And I kind of did that thing. Does this episode, because it connects right back to the fact that we've kind of labeled Ink as the beyond version of Clayface.
Yeah.
Does this episode kind of feel like Mudslide?
Does it?
Okay, hear me
out.
out.
Think about that. Yeah.
Okay. And as we talk, when we kind of start doing our walkthrough of the episode, I'm going to start. But think about this. You've got the caretaker, who is kind of unhealthily obsessed with the shapeshifter. The shapeshifter is not being able, is breaking down. They're not being able to hold their form. There is a finale in the rain. You just watch Mudslide.
Whoa. And then did not think about that. You're correct. I did not even put that together. Wow. Yeah. And when I saw your tweet, I was like, when you said you're having deja vu, I was like, what does he mean by that? But now that you're explaining it, yeah, that is true. It's got the same beats.
It has broad beats. It kind of falls, and I don't mean that as because there's enough different in it that you don't get the same punch. You get different feels watching Mudslide than you do watching Disappearing Ink. But there were some beats in it that I'm just like, this is kind of the same And it was interesting. And I'm going to tell you, today was the first time I've ever thought that. I really do think that us going through the stream and watching these episodes in this very regimented sequence, it just makes everything sort of fresher. And so for some reason, I'm more attuned watching this episode going, and I know we watched Mudslide like 2 years ago or something, but for some reason, since we've been doing this week by week through the animated universe, things are clicking, connections are being made that, I mean, let's be honest, for the last 37 years, never made that connection, but I did today, and I wanted to share it with you.
No, I totally didn't put that together. And rewatching this episode, I mean, I was going, there. I mean, now that I think about it, I'm like, there was a familiar kind of beats that were there, because like you said, you get the obsessive person who of course helps the antagonist in this episode, which is Aaron in this one. And poor Aaron, man, he looks like a sad sap. The bags under his eyes, and geez.
And did you recognize the voice of Aaron?
No, I did not. Who is it?
Oh, dude. Okay, this is one of those. One of those that it was like I did like 1 minute into the episode, I didn't have to look at the credits. I went, I fucking know who that is.
Who is it?
It's William H. Macy.
Oh, what? I was about ready to like search. I'm like, who is it? Oh, but I don't need to search William H. Macy. Are you kidding? That was really William H. Macy.
It's William H. Macy.
Wow. That's cool, man. And this was when?
1999.
God, so he was already. This is post Boogie Nights.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Post Boogie Nights. It's before the Cooler, which is kind of fun because the Cooler, he plays that loser. That's why he's a Cooler in that movie.
Right. Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because William H. Macy has like eras of his career where he's either like the dick or he's the loser. Because I think one of the first times I remember him was Mr. Holland's Opus.
Mr. Holland's Opus. Oh man, that's what, 94, 95. That's Richard Dreyfuss. Right?
Richard Dreyfuss. Yeah, it's because he plays the dick of an assistant principal.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
God, that movie. The scene that stands out with that movie is when there's like an alarm going off, and then like everybody's covering their ears, but not his son.
Not his son. Yes.
Oh, that's when that's that dramatic thing where like his
it's not an alarm. It's like the bullhorn at the parade.
Oh yeah, bullhorn. Yeah, that's what it was. But yeah, everybody's going and then his son is just playing because he doesn't hear it. He's deaf, and he's
deaf.
That's just like one of those reveals that like a heartbreaking reveal of like, oh shit, his son is deaf. Damn it. Yeah,
but yeah. So, and of course, I also love, especially when you go back in, William H. Macy's in all these David Mamet movies, and he can nail that. But yeah, but he is this loser that is like, I mean, he's even drawn like a loser. Like
dude.
There were parts of this episode that I did not remember until I was watching it again.
Yeah.
But I remember looking at the thumbnail on HBO Max. It's so great that I can call it that again, by the way.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that back, Warner Media.
Yeah. Warner Brothers Discovery. But I remembered, like, when I saw the title, this was not one of those episodes that when the title, because you know me, I can just hear a title on some episodes and go, I can break down the entire episode for you. Disappearing Ink, I just knew was an Ink episode, obviously, but I couldn't remember the plot of the episode. But I saw the thumbnail and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that loser that kind of helps her out. But I forgot just how pathetic he really was. I mean,
they drew him like that with the bags under his eyes,
kind of eyes,
yeah. He had those sad eyes. Yeah, those sad eyes. And it's funny too, because when I'm thinking about William H. Macy, I mean, one of the things that I remember too is like around this time was Mystery Men.
The
shovel. Yeah, he was like, he had the big shovel. That was his whole thing, was he knew how to work a shovel. I love that movie. I don't care what anybody says. That movie was ahead of its time. Just saying.
You and Jordan Funk would love that movie so much.
I did. I was a big fan of that movie. I remember I have it on DVD in a box somewhere. But I love that movie. But yeah, so that was around that time. Crazy, because that was like 97, 98 when that came out, or even maybe 99. This might have been around the same time. Crazy. But yes, Inque is being held in a cryogenic storage.
Okay,
and yes,
so this is something that I wanted to like ponder we're 40-year-old men watching a Saturday morning cartoon. So let's ponder the reality of the Saturday morning cartoon that we're watching.
of course.
So Inque is not in some sort of government facility.
No.
This is Gotham Cryogenics. So from what I can tell, this is some sort of private entity that is what I assume, because the episode doesn't tell us. So we're doing our 40-year-old men head canoning here, but clearly has been contracted by the city to hold Inque.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking at, where's the Arkham? Like where's the Supermax? Where's the Supermax facility?
Oh,
that we would put. That we
somebody
would
like this,
because in present day Gotham, as I would say, you had Blackgate and you had Arkham. You had the prison and you had the asylum, because if you were just a plain criminal, you got put in. Oh, I forgot. In our universe, it's Stonegate. I'm going to correct myself. In the comic books, it would be Blackgate. In the animated universe, it's Stonegate.
Yeah,
because you'd have Stonegate for the penitentiary, and then you'd have Arkham for the crazy people.
Yeah,
but you would think when you have, Inque's a metahuman. Like, she qualifies entirely into the category of metahuman. Where is the metahuman prison? Like, we live in a world now that we're past the introduction of Superman the animated series. We know
that these beings are out there.
We know these beings are out there.
Yeah.
Exactly. And they were kind of like, you had Clayface, you had Mr. Freeze, you had metahuman Poison Ivy. Well, Poison Ivy, yeah, like she was one that you felt like she became more metahuman-esque as
she went on along.
Like by the time you got to season 3, by the time you got to New Batman Adventures, we're talking about Poison Ivy more in the sense of being a metahuman. But where's you would think we're 50 years into the future, or is this or hear me out, I'm pontificating here and I apologize. Is this kind of that cyberpunk-esque nature where everything is more privatized, where it is the corporate, because that's very cyberpunk. It's the mega corporations in the future. So
that's an interesting concept. Yeah, I think I like that.
So because I'm just thinking about the reason this all comes up is I look at Aaron. Why the fuck do we have a guy like Aaron who's
watching over
a supervillain? He's clearly just the maintenance guy. He's not he
goes in there and makes sure everything's good, maybe wipes some things down, but make sure everything's working. That's about it.
Right, because you don't have to feed her. Yeah. It's not like he's a guard who's a caretaker. He just has to make sure that the equipment's running to make sure that she stays frozen.
Yeah. So that is interesting. And Pretty Fly for a Filipino guy said in the chat that in Return of the Joker, they do say that Arkham was abandoned.
And I know that like we're gonna discuss
we'll discuss that when we get
to Return of the Joker. Yes.
Yeah, but I was like, where did they mention that Arkham? And thank you for bringing that up, because I was going, where do they mention Arkham in this series? And I was like, there's no way they didn't mention Arkham in this series, but I didn't know exactly when. So thank you for saying that, Filipino guy. But I was just kind of like, oh yeah, like what? But then you bring up a good point that in a world like this, that it would, like, everything would be so privatized as it is. So yeah, that's a good point. It's a good insight. I like that.
Well, because if we're going to justify the inciting incident of this episode, that you've got a loser like Aaron, who is, I know, given the access to even cause the problems that happen in this episode, I'm just kind of like, I'm breaking it down, just going, this is just more failures in this system, because Gotham sucks.
It does. I mean, and when you see him, and he's like talking to her, and then he like kisses the glass, and you're just going, what the fuck? And of course,
his supervisor thinks, what the fuck too?
Yeah, and then he's talking about not getting a raise, and it was just like, what the hell? Like, it was so weird. And then of course he gets called into his boss's office, and his boss is like, dude, you realize we have cameras everywhere, right? And we've been watching you going into this room, and just now you kissed the glass. What are you doing? Like, this is not the behavior we want for this. Because that's creepy. Why the hell? But it's just like, but he doesn't care. He's in his own world, kind of thing. It's like he just wants more money and to have the power of Inque, apparently. And of course, he has like a thing for her in a way.
Well, I think it's that situation where she has to listen.
Yes.
She doesn't really have a fucking choice in the matter. She's frozen solid.
And that's what's so funny. Anytime that this is happening too, anytime like it's like a common thing, like when someone's frozen or whatever, or like, in a place like that, it's always that thing. It's always revealed later that, I could hear everything and see everything, There's always like that whole thing. I'm thinking of like Demolition Man and stuff like that, but it is revealed later on that she did hear everything that he had to say and saw and stuff like that. But it is kind of like always like a thing where, it's always assumed like, oh, they don't know what's going on. And then it's always revealed later that, oh no, I knew everything.
So that's interesting. Okay. So to walk down this road with me. We're gonna go pick some flowers, Dave. You're talking to them because you're a lonely loser who feels like no one listens to you, and now you finally have somebody who you feel like you can share your problems with. So you're shocked when it turns out they could actually hear you. Like, wasn't that the point?
Yeah.
So that you actually had someone who you like. Is it the fantasy?
I think it's a fantasy kind of thing.
Like, it's a fantasy that you feel like you've got someone to listen to. But in reality, you at least think they can't hear you, so you feel more open to say whatever is on your mind. And then there's the oh shit when you find out
I think it's one of
hear you.
It's like one of those things like when you were a kid and you talk to your stuffed animals.
Oh yeah.
It's like that sense. You never grew out of that or something. I don't know, like because you're just so lonely. I don't know. And you just never had you never had somebody like that in your real life where you can actually like just, unwind to, you could just pour out to. But obviously when we're all little, like, Jesus Christ, I talk to my stuffed animals or my fucking whatever the hell, my Stay Puft Marshmallow Man I used to freaking sleep with when I was a kid, my little, Batman stuffed animals or whatever the hell, my little Clifford the dog, Velveteen Rabbit. I'm just naming off a bunch of stuffed animals I had when I was a kid, but I'm just saying you just had that, because like that they're not going to talk back, but you just want to just talk, because you're just as a kid. But then as an adult, you're just so lonely. Like it stayed like that you just kind of go, oh, well, this is kind of like a person, and I don't know, like you're just not getting enough of that human contact in real life, that I'm just going to pour out all my problems with this, because this is the closest I have to doing that, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
It's just, but yet he kisses her, so he also has like this weird
romantic.
Yeah, he's got this weird romantic attachment to her, even though, especially when she's frozen, it's not like she looks
like a woman.
Like a woman. Like it would be different if she was frozen in her air quotes human form.
Yeah.
But she's in full-blown ink mode. There's nothing feminine, like she's
maybe there's a little bit of feminine there because she is still like the legs and the arms and everything, and maybe it kind of looks like the hips and the shape are a little bit, but still that fucking head is just one big giant eyeball.
Right.
That's creepy shit. Like I don't know. I don't know if I want to be pouring out all my secrets and all my anguishes and everything that are just like there, like where, looking at that thing. Ugh, that's a little creepy.
I know. Yeah. So he gets fired by Mr. Chandler, which, by the way, voiced by Kevin Michael Richardson. No
shit.
Yeah, I mean it's Kevin Michael Richardson. Like that man's voice, that big black man voice is like I can spot that voice.
Kevin Michael Richardson, Jesus Christ.
His voice. I mean, I will always think of him as Rastigar Joker from the Batman. That animated series. But he's also just been in everything. Like we've heard him so many times already. He's just one of those voice actors. He's in everything.
He's a big voice actor. Yeah. I didn't even know. I didn't even know that was him either. Like I said,
well, no, he's just one of those that's like I know. Yeah. He's like one of those I know that voice. It's like I do the thing like Kevin Michael Richardson, Rob Paulson. There's all those like not actors who do voices, but like voice actors, like Tara Strong or like people like that. Where you go, yep, I know you. I know you. I know you. I know you every time I hear you, kind of deal. So yeah, he was Mr. Chandler. He was just like, what the fuck is your problem?
Like, what are you doing? This, and then of course, like Aaron has the guff to be like, oh, what, you were recording me? It's like, yeah, dude, you're at work. Everything's gonna be recorded. You thought that was private? Like, come on, man. What are we thinking here? And then of course, after he gets fired, Aaron, he goes, well, I'm going to go ahead and just go outside or later on. And I guess this is like later on, like maybe a day later or something like that. But he's just going to go, I know where some of the power is coming from this. I mean, apparently he knew exactly which line to cut.
Well, see, and that's the thing. And I think that's kind of his point.
Yeah.
Because he walks in to Inque's cell originally, bitching about the fact that he didn't get a raise because his boss is like, well, what the fuck do you think you do around here? Like, why do you think you deserve a raise? And that's kind of his point is, well, I was the one keeping things running. I know how this shit works. So much so that he can go to a breaker box and cut the exact line he needs to shut off the power to Inque's cell. Yeah. So I mean, he kind of makes his point.
He does. He makes his point, and then of course, that's just when she escapes.
Yeah, but I do love when we cut back to the Batcave, and Bruce is showing Terry around.
Yeah,
we get to see what gets introduced in this episode, like this really cool exoskeleton bat suit. Now. Did I miss this detail or not? Like, was this something Bruce developed? This had to be something. This was like his first go at, I'm getting old. I need support.
Yes.
So I got the sense that this was like his first go at a new bat suit, but
yeah, it's like a Mach 1 of the Batman Beyond suit kind of thing.
Yes,
it's like the first version or something.
Yeah, so it was cool because now this is something that comes later in the comics. So this, and knowing the writer who came up with this in the comics and how much he has pulled from the animated series, I could believe that he was inspired. But how far did you read into Scott Snyder's Batman run?
Probably not far enough to put this together.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you get to the arc called Endgame, there is a suit, an exoskeleton suit that Batman has that's called the Justice Buster.
Justice Buster. I did not get to that point.
Oh, dude. Let me just lay the scene for the awesomeness in this one particular issue.
Okay.
It's called the Justice Buster because whenever you have Batman in the Justice League, what's the one thing that in modern comics Batman always has when he's in the Justice League?
He always has a plan to make sure that the Justice League stays intact. I don't know.
Yeah. He's always
got an contingency plan.
He's got a contingency plan for the Justice League.
Yeah.
It all goes back to like when Mark Waid wrote Tower of Babel, the idea that Batman would have a plan to stop every leaguer.
Yes. If they were to go off the
reservation. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, Scott Snyder in Endgame shows you this giant exosuit that is his, like, this is how I take out the Justice League if I needed to. And in the issue, he's fighting Jokerized members of the Justice League. They've all been Jokerized. And he has to fight every member of the Justice League in this suit.
That's pretty cool. See, I was like kind of going, well, maybe it's loosely based off the Batman Kingdom Come suit, because it is kind of like an exo, type of suit, the way he explains it. I was like, oh, maybe they were referencing that. But that sounds way more what they were.
And if my camera had been working, like they did they did a Greg Capullo artist design series of action figures. And so, of course, this is during the run where Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo worked, that entire New 52 run of Batman. So I have this action figure of the Justice Buster, and I would have, if my camera had been working, I would have grabbed it and shown it. But it's really cool. And by the way, you've got to read that. Is such an awesome.
Yeah, that sounds like something pretty cool.
Yeah, but so that's what that reminded me of. Now, of course, this came, decades earlier, but still that idea of like this giant, this giant, almost Iron Man like.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it almost was like. It's not as big as the Hulkbuster suit of Iron Man, but it's like bigger than the normal Iron Man suit, of course.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So that was cool. And then also Terry makes a comment. He's like, it's taken you 6 months to show me this stuff. So I'm like, okay, you've been Batman for 6 months. I always love it.
We got a little timeline right here.
We got a little timeline. So here we are in episode 11 of season 1. And we're going to say, based on their own script writing, so that's covered 6 months.
Yes.
Terry's been Batman for 6 months.
I love it when they drop those little nuggets right there where we go like, hey, man, we got to remind people of when this takes place. And then they do that. I love that because it's like, 6 months. He hasn't really. And, Bruce like passes off like, oh, we've been pretty busy and blah, blah, blah. But then, of course, naturally, the back computer goes, hey, alert, alert, blah, blah, blah. Intruder alert, intruder alert. Sorry. God. That whole thing with simulated Alfred. Anyways, they basically say like, oh yeah, something, somebody's breaking out of something. And then of course, we know that it's Inque So we get that alert, and then naturally it's like, all right, suit up, time to time to be Batman, Terry.
And I also love how he hands him Mr. Freeze's, freeze gun
from the first time we came around, because it was like, all right, this is the way to do it, obviously. And so that's pretty cool. And then of course we get Aaron, who of course is just in his apartment watching the reports, and he's just eating pretzels, and he doesn't give a shit. He's
drinking a big gulp, basically.
Yeah, he's just he's unemployed. He doesn't give a shit. So, but naturally it's like, well, of course Inque is gonna end up showing up to him, because she can easily manipulate him, which of course she does.
Yeah, but first we get, of course, the fight outside of cryogenic, which
that's right. Sorry.
We do get that. But here's the thing: so Batman shows up. They're letting the hostages go.
Yeah. Because she was holding the hostages.
Right, she was holding the hostages. I want to talk about this one guy. So Terry figures out that this one guard is Inque's way out, because he's wearing this long black jacket, and he just figures out that's Inque. How does the dude not realize that he's suddenly wearing a jacket he wasn't wearing? That's the one plot hole I have in this entire episode is, how did that guy?
They had to make it dramatic. That's what it was.
I mean, it was cool. I like the idea. It's just that, well, clearly, if she was the jacket in its entirety, wouldn't the guy realize he was suddenly wearing like a trench coat that he wasn't wearing previously?
He's just that.
That's my one nitpick. That's my one nitpick for the episode. That.
Yeah, but of course, Batman was like, "Hey, wait a minute, what the fuck?" And then of course they're like going after him. So yeah, and then of course, good escape for her. But the guy should have realized, like, oh, wait a minute, I don't wear this. This is not my attire. What are we doing here?
But I did like that the cops went after. I still like there being that sort of that relationship where the cops and Batman don't exactly see eye to eye. Like, you got that one commanding officer who's like, get him, and it's just like, you dick. He's trying to help.
Like, come on, you haven't realized that Batman's he's on your side. But they still have to keep that as part of the story, I guess you could say. But and then of course, I mean, even before that too, is like I know, that's right. There was like that. I wrote that. What about Batman? And that guy's like, what about him? it's like you fucking asshole.
Right, because they're fucking with Batman. He loses the freeze gun, and then that allows Inque to destroy the freeze gun, which now means for the remainder. They don't have the freeze gun is no longer an easy answer to Inque, because
it's not an easy answer,
because they can't replicate Mr. Freeze's freeze gun. That's done. And
I love that Terry immediately is just going, she's been in the Batcave, dude. I'm scared. I'm scared for that, because because obviously the last time that she was around, like the first time, she made it to the Batcave. So immediately Terry is already going, oh my God, she knows where the Batcave is. She knows where the Batcave is. So I love that Terry is automatically already thinking that. And then Bruce, obviously later on, he's kind of going, yeah, but does she really know how to get here? That's what's kind of funny. Is like Bruce kind of Terry was just like, dude, she showed up to the Batcave. So automatically he's going, I didn't stop her. She destroyed the gun. She's coming for the Batcave. She was there before, and then of course later on a little bit, Bruce is kind of like, yeah, but it was dark. She didn't know where Bruce starts breaking it down, technically, as Terry's just acting emotionally after what he just went through right here, which is I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, I also like that, but they're doing too, Bruce is thinking like Batman does. He's thinking ahead. It's like, okay, but I need to know more about Inque so we can know how to defeat her ultimately.
Sure.
Terry is thinking very much in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce is Batman being 3 steps ahead. Once again, what does Batman need to defeat anybody? Prep time. So he's using his prep time.
He's doing his prep time. You're
Yeah.
right.
And then
meanwhile, this is where we get the where Aaron's snacking and she shows up.
Yeah, which then kind of tells you that because the way she oozes in, like his apartment is like subterranean, like he's literally living in a basement apartment. Like,
yeah,
it's
not a good spot.
It's not. It really isn't. And she shows up, and this is when she's like, "I heard everything," and I love the line, "and I saw everything," and that made me go,
"What'd you see?
What did he do?" Like,
yeah.
I have some ideas.
Oh yeah, we don't. Yeah, I'm sure. Like especially if you thought it's just so funny that he's like, "Did you not think there was cameras in there?" Oh my god.
I know, right? And of course, this is when it kind of goes back and forth because Bruce is kind of telling us the information. Like, we don't find out from Inque. We find out from Bruce that Inque's plan right now is her DNA is falling apart. Very much like Mudslide, like what was happening with Hagen. The human DNA is breaking apart. He can't hold himself together because Bruce is like, well, why didn't she just go into her human form and sneak out with the hostages? Because she can't.
Yeah.
Like, all she has is ink. All she has is ink form right now because there was a sample still stuck to Terry's suit, and he's able to go, yeah, her DNA is shot. And this is also when now does Aaron here's where I'm getting fuzzy because I didn't take detailed enough notes. Is this where Aaron reveals that what he wants for his reward is no, he reveals later that what he wants.
No, it was later. It was later.
Yeah, it was later because we think the whole time is he wants to,
he wants to be with her.
It wants to be with her.
Yeah, because there's that when they're in his apartment and he's like trying to make her a sandwich. He's like, "You like American cheese?" And she's just like, I don't feel like eating right now. And then, and then he's like, yeah, there's really not much to do here except for eat, sleep, and, whatever.
Take a shower.
Yeah, take a shower. Well, yeah, because like he wanted like, yeah, maybe you should shower. You were in that storm drain. And she's like, I don't really like water. Yeah, it's like, yeah, duh. And meanwhile, Terry is also like welding the fucking, the entrance to the Batcave, trying to weld all the cracks. And I think Bruce kind of likes that. I think Bruce kind of has like a little smile when he approaches.
I agree with you. I do agree with you on
where
that.
He's like, oh, he's looking after me because he's acting emotionally and he wants to make sure I'm safe. And this is where, like what I was talking about before, where Bruce is like taking the more, Batman approach of, well, like, yeah, she got in here, but did she really know the way? And he starts kind of thinking like that terms. But I think he really appreciated that Terry was taking upon himself to literally get a fucking welding gun to start like, welding up some of the openings that she could slip through. So that was kind of cool. I like that. And it was almost like a grandpa moment of like, aw,
Because I also like when he goes, did you ever wonder why she didn't just do it? And Terry was like, now that you mention this.
Exactly, that's good. I like that. But yeah, so yeah, and then of course, like I said, like Aaron's just trying to, but we don't know because I think that's the first time he was like, yeah, I want a reward. We don't know exactly what the reward is quite.
Inque clearly thinks the reward is, hubba hubba.
Yeah. He's just a horny, lonely dude kind of thing.
Right.
But
and of course Bruce figures out the only company in Gotham that would have all the chemicals that she needs to stabilize her system. I take it back. I have another nitpick that I'll bring up is how does Inque know?
That's a good point also. Yeah. How does
he
know where to go to get this pink fucking
chemical? But also how does she know the chemicals? Like now you could if I didn't want to just nitpick, if I wanted to headcanon, you could say, well, she clearly went through some process at some point to become this.
Yes.
So maybe she was at least intelligent enough to, know know what went into her becoming this. And so she then has at least some baseline scientific knowledge of what she needs to, fix herself. Like it's one of those things where you go, when you get turned into, when you are transformed into a metahuman, how scientifically savvy are you about what happened to you so that you know what to do with yourself? I guess it's a question, and it doesn't ever get addressed. We just say she knows where to go magically to get the chemicals that she needs, and she knows the exact chemicals that she needs to, help her.
Yeah. So we could just chalk it up to that, and then of course, when I love how Bruce is like, hey, I mocked up something that could help. And it's basically, a special batarang,
which is the one I have.
Of course. Which, if you had, the camera.
Have a camera working, I was going to have that too.
Batarang.
Yeah, the blue batarang. That's the one thing. I never have the red one. I wish I had the red one. But I've only got the blue one because the blue one was the one you could get at Walmart. And, the red one's cool because the red one actually like pops out like it does in the show.
Yeah, it does actually. The wings little pop out.
The little wings pop out.
So obviously Batman shows up. He messes up though. He hits, there's just like random chains that he ends up knocking. Like, come on, dude. Chains.
And this falls into one of those things I would say is like, Terry has the camouflage mode.
Yeah.
Like, why doesn't he just turn it on all the time? Like,
I know. It's only when it's convenient. But naturally we get a little fight action that happens. She turns into like this like spider friggin' thing, which is creepy looking, but it's effective, obviously. And of course Aaron helps her out too, because like there's like this mechanical arm thing that he helps.
Yes, and that's fair because he's clearly, since he's kind of a mechanical kind of guy.
Yeah,
I could see him being a guy who's worked construction. Like he would know how to operate equipment like that. That I think was a very logical way for Aaron to assist in the fight against Batman.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure. And so obviously Inque, she doesn't want to kill Batman because she's just like, well, if I'm going to kill him, we got to kill there's somebody
the old guy.
The old guy. There's an old guy there too that we got to take out as well. So let's lure all that in before we start taking out Batman here. There's not just him. There's somebody else that she picked up on, obviously, because he's talking to somebody. And then we cut to like, the fact that they're at some kind of arena thing and they're going to be doing like, all right, let's inject the liquids, see if we can get me back into my form, which she does in a sense, but she's still kind of not fully there.
Well, she says it wasn't a big enough dose. So she does need more of it to completely stabilize her. And meanwhile, Terry wakes up and he's trying to, excuse me. Oh, yay. Apologize. I usually turn the mic off before I yawn.
Dude, if you were on camera and I saw you do that, I'd probably be like, yeah, myself. So good thing. I'm lifting. You know how that is. You see something.
I know exactly how that is.
Yourself, yeah.
But he's trying to communicate with Bruce about where he is, but then of course Inque shows up, and of course she wants him to tell her because she knows that there's a loose end. The old man is the loose end. She doesn't know who the old man is.
Yeah.
Because even when he fought her in the Batcave, he used his gray ghost costume to disguise himself because he put on the hat and the goggles, from his gray ghost collection. What a great callback that was.
I know, right? That was a good callback. I like that.
Yeah. So
no, but I mean, like, yeah, but I mean, obviously he's trying, and then this is when we're starting to like hear about Aaron's like, oh, on my end of the deal, and then he basically says like, oh, I want your power. That's when we get that reveal of that. Of course, we don't know exactly how that's going to work, but yeah, like I said, when he's tied up to the rink, the boxing rink, and then of course when she shows up and Bruce is like going, Terry, what's happening? What's happening? She's like going, oh, there's that voice. That's the voice I want to hear. That's the loose end. I hear that, and which I thought was pretty cool because, I like the fact that she just, kind of just like creeped up and was like listening as like Bruce is like going, what the fuck? Like, what's happening? Jesus.
And then, of course, when Terry won't tell her, I love it how she just like, knocks him unconscious and then leans in, like yells into the earpiece going, this is where we are. Come and get us.
Yeah, pretty much. And then, oh man. She of course wants Bruce to show up, and then the reward and all this stuff. And I think this is where we're just gonna like dive into it because I mean this is where the shit gets cool.
Oh, it's so much shit gets cool.
Weird too. It's cool and it's weird because obviously it's like, oh, Aaron, you want some of this pink liquid? You think that's going to turn you into what he is?
Cronenberg, Aaron? That's what
my God, you're right. That is so Cronenberg. Oh my God. Yeah, good.
Okay, so stop right there.
That's badass.
But you know what?
It looks like the Shadow.
Yes. Which, of course, the Shadow is one of the precursors to Batman. It's really the two major influences you can say that Bob Kane ripped off. Was Zorro and the Shadow. Yep. And this is so the Shadow right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad you
Dave, fuck yeah, dude. Come on.
Oh, so good. So good.
Oh, I love that fucking movie, man. I'm like, I'm waiting on like, when are they gonna do a modernized version of the fucking Shadow? Come on. All right, here we go. So he comes in. Hello. And then you get to see, oh no, there's poor Aaron. Not quite what he wanted.
He only gave me that. Oh my God, that is like such a Cronenberg body horror movie right there. I thought about the substance too.
And then right here, you see that little.
He didn't get away, and neither will you.
And then the suit busts out.
And you hear the music.
You get the music. Not only that, you get the Mask of the Phantasm flyer version.
So good. I call that music, man.
Oh God. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. No! Because it's like that exact version of the Batman theme that plays at the end of Mask of the Phantasm.
Yeah.
Shirley Walker was cooking on that movie.
Hell yeah.
You
promise.
No, this is cool. Like, if you're talking about, like, sort of the symbiote, this is almost like Venom versus anti-Venom. It's like...
Yeah. And of course, Terry's like, wait a minute. I know what I could do. It's raining tonight.
Yep. And, of course, Bruce has got his heart condition, and Terry knows that.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. I'm melting! I'm melting!
Gotta get that pink ooze.
No!
Down the drain you go.
Oh.
Now do you believe me about why I retired? Not entirely. But tonight I'm glad you didn't stay retired.
Not entirely.
Yeah, because that was the cool thing. Like, Bruce has still never told him what happened that night.
Exactly. And of course, this poor guy.
Dinner time,
now he has his own version
this
of
is
it.
Major favorites, mashed potatoes and peas.
Oh, this
He
scene when
makes
she
the fried
smashes
potatoes,
out,
but with
she
the
pours the
dough
milk.
out, you
Oh
know.
God!
Oh,
Oh, that's
no.
so disgusting.
Oh.
And she puts a funnel in his mouth. Oh.
Oh,
Good, huh?
God.
So, before I tell you about all the
Oh,
things
and the
that happened
worst
to
part
me
is
today,
because like
I
this is the
want to
kind of
thank
food
you for
I can't
listening
like.
these
This is the
last few
texture of
months.
food I
You're
can't
the only one who
stand.
does, and you'll never guess how much it
Just even
means to me.
thinking about it.
Anyway, the store was out of diet ice cream, so I had to drive all the way to the
Damn.
other store, and I
Oh, poor Aaron. That's what he
Oh,
wanted,
God.
though.
And I love the fact that the camera pans to show there's another security camera
Yeah,
watching
exactly.
them.
Like,
Oh,
yeah. God. Ugh, mashed potatoes and peas, and then you just dump a bunch of milk in there to dump it down.
oh,
Oh God, that's just like you said, texture. First off, peas, fuck peas. I do
fuck
not
peas,
like
fuck
peas.
peas. No,
Fuck
no.
peas.
There's
That
two
was one of the
things.
things,
There's two vegetables that I say fuck off to. It's
dude.
It's peas and lima beans. Cannot stand.
Yeah, I agree with that. One of the great things in Mama Film Junkie, well, I'm glad she never made us eat peas because she fucking hates peas. Like when it came to all that, she goes, "Oh, I never made you guys eat peas because I fucking hate peas." And I'm like, "Thank you for not making us eat peas." And that's just, can you imagine that diet for? And then you're just like sitting there, just all, well, my life's even worse than it was before.
Yes.
A blobby little fucking whatever the hell. I don't have the power that I wanted. I'm just like barely holding it together. I have nothing. I have this woman that comes in and fucking feeds me just gross, disgusting shit. So I stay alive. Oh, ugh.
It's another. It's been a while, but it's back to having one of those like Twilight Zone-esque endings.
It is. You're right. That is kind of like one of those endings. Wow. Man, but still, you know what? It's a good episode. There's good things.
Good. I mean, look at how long we've been going. Like this episode had some meat. I think it's deceptively meaty. Like you can really. The character of Aaron was a very interesting. Like when you're going to do the poor sad sack loser who helps out the villain, this was just. I don't know. There was so much there. It's a good episode.
No, they did a good job of like, all right, let's establish this. And, obviously being, 22, 23 minutes long, they were like, okay, we know exactly what to do to get the story moving. But at the same time, I did not look at it like you looked at it when it came to Mudslide and like the parallels right there. And I thought that's really cool because now I'm going, oh wow, that I did not even put that together. So I like what you did there.
It's what I'm here for.
That's what you're here for.
I think we've established this after the last 4 years. That's what I'm here for.
In my mind, Scott, as you do. Yeah, that's good. But yeah, good episode, and I love the fact that Bruce got to get some action in with his exosuit, his big, huge, whatever, his firstborn kind of like, I need some help suit. And the relationship between him and Terry, furthered along. We know it's 6 months now. We got a timeline as well. So yeah, really good episode.
I enjoyed it. And nothing makes me happier than hearing like that rocked out version of the Batman theme.
Oh yeah, dude. When I heard that, I was like, oh fuck yeah, that's so awesome. Love that. So what do we got next week?
Well, we are going back to Metropolis.
Oh boy,
I know. And okay, there's some controversy online, but I'm going to say this because I think it's going to be interesting discussion next week. The season 3 finale of Superman the Animated Series.
Mm-hmm.
But then we still have 3 more episodes after that.
Yeah.
Okay, so So I've done some research.
Yeah.
It's only so when the DVDs, and if you watch on HBO Max, there's only 3 seasons of Superman the Animated Series as far as the release is concerned. But there is some discussion online that production-wise indicates that what we're going to watch next week is actually the end of season 3, and that the show was just cut off short, and that there is technically the last 3 episodes constitute a season 4. It's interesting. The sources on the internet do not agree, but so for next week, we're going to be watching the 51st episode of Superman the Animated Series called Unity.
Yeah. So, but we don't know if but we're just basically going thinking it possibly could be one of those last episodes, but not kind of thing.
Well, no, it's just that there are 3 more episodes. There are 3 more episodes to watch, right? But if you go by the order, because there was such and this is going to be reflected, by the way, in our stream, there was such a gap between this episode and the next episode. It is as if this episode is technically where season 3 ended, and the final 3 episodes to air were supposed to be like the beginning of a season 4 that got cut short.
Okay. I love that you're putting that you're setting that little, you're putting that inception into my brain, because then when I watch it, I'm going to be kind of looking at it like that, like next week when we watch it, I'm going to be looking at it like, okay, so is this going to be, is this going to be like, oh yeah, this was supposed to be setting up the next season? Yeah. I like that you're setting that up like that.
Yeah. So once again, everyone, if you're when you're watching along at home, next week we'll be talking about Superman the Animated Series, the episode called Unity, which once again is episode 51 in the 54 episode run. So we've only got, after next week, I mean, from now on, we got 4 more episodes, and we will finish Superman the Animated Series. But as I just indicated, there's going to be a big honking gap in between that and us watching more episodes of Superman the Animated Series. Yeah. We're going to be going on a lot of Batman Beyond.
Yeah. So, all right, well, go ahead and watch that, guys. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to have that discussion about that and see how all this is how it all kind of plays out. But we're getting close to that, which is pretty crazy. But thank you guys, of course, for watching. Great episode tonight. And again, sorry that there little delays. No, you don't get to see Scott's beautiful mug as we usually do. Well, kind of. It's still there.
It's still there. It just isn't. Yeah. It's just also like almost 4 years old at this point. Yeah. I remember that picture was taken during the lockdowns.
Yeah. So I remember you posting that, I think, to be honest. And you got the, obviously the Man of Steel shirt. But yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Always great you guys spending time with us. And like I said, look forward to Scott's Ballerina review and whatever podcast you want to promote that, of course.
I do want to yeah. So I will probably, after we get off, I will write up my review for Ballerina. So look for that to be posted on X at Scott DC27 and on Vero at Scott McClellan, but it will be a link to my Letterboxd account. So go ahead and follow me over on Letterboxd so you can see my 4-star review and read why I gave it 4 stars for Ballerina. And I will be returning after a very long absence to the 602 Club. Matt Rushing over there asked me months in advance. His co-host is, as of their last episode, has stepped down due to real world things going on. And so I'm going to be filling in here and there as a co-host on reviews. And I wanted to make sure that I jumped on the Ballerina because the last time I was on was to talk about the Continental miniseries on Peacock. So this will... Yeah, so
I watched it. I heard it wasn't good.
It was not good. It was not good.
I heard just such bad things about it, and you told me that it wasn't that great either. So I was like,
yeah. But I am going to be returning so that Matt and I can talk about Ballerina. And so that will be a little bit more of a long form discussion versus whatever review I end up writing up tonight. But please check out both. So go ahead and subscribe to the 602 Club so that you will not miss my appearance. I can also tease that I will be talking some Planet of the Apes later on in the year as well. So we've already been talking about that. So just teasing things to come. But make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the 602 Club.
I like it. I like it. So, but yeah, look forward to that, and look forward to my first reaction to Ballerina. I'll be posting tomorrow, and then of course at the opening of the Vodka stream. I'll be also giving my full review as I do now, and then of course we got a little bit of we got a guest.
We have a guest, yes, and I'm planning on being on the Vodka stream.
Yes, of course. Yeah, we got a guest. I already said who it was.
I thought you probably did.
Yeah, I already did on my not live Film Junkie live. That I was like, yeah, Ernie Altbacker is going to be showing up on Fridays because he just he launched his book, his Kickstarter, which we promoted on. I promoted on Twitter. I posted a clip, a really good clip of him talking about why there was not a Green Lantern, the animated series season 2. There was another Green Lantern thing that was happening during that time. And he explained it, and it was a good time. Again, watch that if you haven't watched that, and I'm sure anybody who's listening or watching this right now, you watched and listened to that. We got a lot of good feedback from that, and he was just an awesome guest. And he wanted to come back, and we're like, dude, we got to get you on the Vodka stream because that's where you could pour a drink, and we could really pick his brain and just really shoot the shit and just have some jokes and have some fun with him. And we didn't even talk about all the things we wanted to talk about with him. So,
and we want to definitely give him a chance that was Kickstarter because right now it's been up for it's been up for about 2 days, and he is at 43% funded. Yes. So get people. We really need to get the word out because remember with Kickstarter, if it doesn't reach 100% funded, they get nothing. Yeah. It does not get funded. So we got to help him. He's raised $1,533 so far, but they need $3,500 for the project to go forward. So make sure Dave and I have been sharing the links on our X feeds. I've shared it on Vero. But guys, seriously, you can get digital, you can get physical. I'll go ahead and reveal I've pledged I'm going to be in the comic.
Are you?
Yeah, they're going to draw. I did I'm going to get drawn into the comic. So if that's not a reason for you to read it, just to see, literally animated Scott, in Area 51 Studios. I mean, come on, you could own a piece of history right now. So head over to Kickstarter. There's really good tiers, very affordable tiers, even if you just want to get like a PDF of the comic to read on your devices. But check it out, and then check out Ernie coming back for a full-blown Vodka stream. That's going to be fun. And like I said, I'm back. I'm coming back.
You're going to be showed up, baby. Yeah, and we'll get the crew in here so they can ask, they can pick his brain as well. Like I said, when he showed up on here, it was, you never know how the guest's going to be, but he was just a fucking delight. And that's why it was a 2.5 hour long interview because there was so much to talk about. He talked about so much. So we can only imagine what else we're going to pick his brain about and what else he's going to talk about. So it should be a good time, especially if he had a little bourbon. He said he's going to be pouring some bourbon. So he's going to, we'll get some stories out of him. It's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you tune into the Vodka stream, of course, on Friday. It should be good times. But yes, we'll see you next week for all you DC Fan-imated people going back to Metropolis, and we'll have some good discussions with that. Hit that thumbs up, and like I said, it was a little bit of an off day, but we still made it work, guys. That's the thing. No matter what, we still make it work, even if things are just kind of off when it comes to schedules in real life and everything. So. we're still going to be here and talking about all this nerdy shit that we love. And we love you. And like I said, see you Friday. We'll see you Friday for sure. And hit that like, thumbs up, subscribe, and we will talk to you later.